from the betting capital of the world. Giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over Noche UFC, headlined by Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. The women's flyweight strap is on the line on a rare non-pay-per-view fight night, and I'm excited, man. It's going to be Mexican Independence Day. There's a ton of Mexican talent on this card, and that main event and co-main event should deliver big time, man. A lot of wide money lines on this card, so we have to be careful on how we bet. A lot of props, some parlays. Because like I said, man, some of these money lines are crazy wide, but we have to recap how we did last week at UFC 293 really quickly, guys. We only had one bet and we ended up losing it, man. We had one unit on Israel Adesanya to win inside the distance against Sean Strickland at plus 110, and obviously that didn't happen. Just purely shocked, utterly shocked. It's been a long time since I've been that wrong about a fight, man. I gave Sean Strickland absolutely no chance, zero chance. And what's he go out and do? He works Izzy for 5 straight rounds, almost finishes Izzy himself. And I just couldn't believe it, man. One of those fights where it just makes you sit back and think, man, this is the best sport on the planet. You never know what can happen. You never know what's going to happen inside the octagon. And yeah, man, I gave him no chance, Sean Strickland, and now he is the new UFC middleweight champion. What a performance, not a fluke. He just walked down Izzy for 15 minutes, man. Couldn't believe it, couldn't believe my eyes, but that's why we watch every single week, guys, man. I love this sport. And yeah, man, I'm a little bit upset. I didn't bet more on some spots I did like that ended up coming through, but we kept it light, just a one bet last week, the fewest bets we've had in a long time on a card. But this week, we're going to have some more. We already have 2 parlays and looking at some more props. So without any further ado, let's get right into the fights. In the main event, we have Alexa Grasso taking on Valentina Shevchenko for the women's flyweight title. It's going to be a rematch of a title fight that happened recently, where Alexa Grasso got the crazy upset finish over Valentina Shevchenko. And that's what's crazy about this fight, man. So this is a rematch. And the betting lines are drastically different this time around than last time. Last time, Valentina Shevchenko was around minus 1,000 to defeat Alexa Grasso. And Alexa Grasso was around plus 700, plus 800 to win that fight. And now we're looking at Valentina Shevchenko, the challenger, at minus 170, and the current sitting champion at plus 145 in Alexa Grasso. Now, this strikes me as either we're going to sit here on Saturday night, Sunday morning thinking, dang, that was a super buy low spot on Valentina Shevchenko. When was the last time we've ever seen her around minus 170 ever in the UFC? It's been a long time. But man, I actually think that Alexa Grasso will win this fight. If you watch the fight that they just had, Alexa Grasso comes out in southpaw and gives Valentina Shevchenko a lot of problems, man. I don't think that Valentina was ready for Grasso to be out of that southpaw stance, and she was lining up Valentina Shevchenko in that fight. Valentina was forced to wrestle, and she had a ton of success in the grappling, and especially being able to get those takedowns on Alexa Grasso. And so that, was sort of the way the fight was going. Alexa Grasso would get some damage off, get some pressure off, and Valentina would shoot right away and get the fight down. There was even a moment in that third round where she had Alexa Grasso down. They separate them because nothing was happening, which I disagreed with. And then Valentina looks at the ref like, what are you doing? Why are you separating me? And then shoots right away and gets a takedown in like 15 seconds, and they're back on the mat. So the takedowns were coming quite easily for Valentina Shevchenko in that fight. But dude, on the feet, she didn't look great. That's 2 straight fights now where Valentina has not looked good on the feet. She looks a little bit stiff, a little bit slower. And when Alexa Grasso went to southpaw, she took away that body kick that Valentina loves to throw to the liver. Valentina is very quick with her kicks, but man, she's throwing mostly 1-2s down the pipe. Alexa Grasso was tagging Valentina from the most part of that fight. And the more it went on, dude, Valentina was telegraphing her takedowns big time, dude, especially in that 4th round. That 4th round starts, Alexa Grasso gets shot on, and she stuffs, sprawls and brawls, gets her hips back, down blocks, and then Valentina looks not good, man. I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, like, what's going on? And then, yeah, like I said, sure enough, Valentina Shevchenko throws a spinning sidekick, gets caught, gets her back taken, and gets subbed out right away. I will say, not for nothing, Valentina had the body triangle in on Alexa Grasso in that second round. She was working herself, in a crucifix position and had the back at some points in that second round. But Alexa Grasso showed good jiu-jitsu, good movement. She never stopped moving off her back. She was always squirming, trying to sweep, trying to do something, trying to get up, which she did every single time. And it's just one of those things where I'm going with Alexa Grasso. I don't know if I'm going to be betting it. I hope more money comes in on Valentina to give me a little bit more plus money on Grasso here, but I am going to pick her to retain her belt. I do understand that those takedowns were coming super, super easily for Valentina, and that's a big red flag, man. It's tough to improve your takedown defense in that short amount of time. But on the feet, I was just shocked at how much Alexa was landing and how quick she looked against Valentina. Another thing that really surprised me was Alexa's cardio. She looked fresh as a daisy in that fourth round. John Anik even mentioned, like, dude, she looks totally fine. That was the first time in the UFC that she's ever been in the championship rounds, and she looked fine in round 4. It was Valentina Shevchenko that looked tired. And man, that's 2 straight fights that Valentina has thrown a spinning strike, a spinning back kick against Alexa Grasso, and a spinning back fist against Santos, where she got her back taken, man. It happened in the third round in that Santos fight. And it's just something that I think Valentina goes to when she's trying to circle away or trying to, circle her opponents into her strikes. She loves throwing spinning strikes, and I don't think that she's going to be able to do that here, obviously, because of what happened. But, dude, I really think that this is going to go to decision. I think that Grasso will win the striking here and tag up Valentina. I think that the damage will look worse on Valentina in this fight. And if it wasn't for Santos' eyes swelling up in her 2 fights ago for Valentina, she might have lost that fight too. So 2 straight fights where the old champion hasn't looked that great. Valentina is getting up there in age. She's going to be 36 years old soon. She's 35 right now. All those weight cuts, making that championship weight, she is a naturally bigger girl, has to take a toll, man. She fought her career in the beginning at 135. She's fighting for the belt now multiple times at 115, trying to make championship weight. So I know Valentina, very good striker, very good fight IQ, good grappler. This girl's a beast, man. This girl's a James Bond villain, prototype type fighter. But I just think that it's Alexa Grasso's time, and we're getting plus money on a sitting champion. So give me Alexa Grasso to win a 5-round decision, and the crowd goes crazy. And still. And in the co-main event, we have a banger of a welterweight fight between Kevin Trailblazer Holland and Jack Della Maddalena. Right now, the odds currently sit Jack Della Maddalena at -155 and Kevin Holland coming in the underdog up around +115. Now, this line has been moving up and down all week. More recently, I saw Jack Della Maddalena on Monday around -130, but now he's around -155, and I do agree with that line movement. I think that line is fair, and I am going to pick Jack Della Maddalena to win this fight via decision, but it's going to be a tough fight for Jack, and I can't wait. The fans are in for a treat for this fight, so let's talk about Kevin Holland. So Kevin Holland has a lot of things going for him in this fight. The underdog with plus money here has more experience in the UFC against higher level fighters, higher strength of schedule, has a huge frame advantage, and has a, you could argue, a jiu-jitsu advantage. I don't want to say he has a grappling advantage, because Kevin Holland, I don't foresee him taking down Jack Della Maddalena as easily as Baziel Hafez did in his last fight. But Kevin Holland, once he does end up on the mat, 100% has better jiu-jitsu than Jack Della Maddalena. Kevin Holland, a black belt under Travis Lutter. The guy has good slick jiu-jitsu, man. We saw him finish Chairez off his back, which was crazy. But I've also seen him get dominated inside of his guard off his back, man. Darren Stewart, I know that fight was a long time ago, but there was moments where he had him in his full guard and he was getting elbowed to death, man. And I think that Jack Della Maddalena on the feet is a more sophisticated and more efficient striker than Kevin Holland. But that size and frame makes it super interesting, man. I don't blame anyone betting on Kevin Holland here, because, like I said, he has a lot of things going for him. The size, the experience, the jiu-jitsu advantage. I mean, this guy has an 8-inch reach advantage over Jack Della Maddalena. And I'm sitting here picking Jack Della Maddalena, the guy with less experience, who just looked not like a -500 favorite in his last fight, a fight that went to decision that you could argue he lost. Jack Della Maddalena in his most recent fight showed low fight IQ, jumping guillotine 3 different times, ending up on his back against a wrestler for no apparent reason, man. If he kept it on the feet, he would just continue to piece up Baziel Hafez, and he would easily cruise to a decision, but instead he jumped Gilly 3 times for some reason and made that fight way closer than it had to be. So a bit of an IQ kind of question there, scratching my head on that one. But I do think that he has better boxing, better striking than Kevin Holland, and at one point he probably will catch Kevin Holland and win this via damage. I do think that he's going to win a decision. Both guys very, very durable. Both guys don't get put out like that. But yeah, I just think that Jack Della Maddalena is going to be able to rip to the body, leg kick Kevin Holland down, chop him down, cut off the cage like he did to Randy Brown, and just tee off on him, man. I understand Kevin Holland's super durable and he has that frame. Like I said, I don't really blame anyone taking that underdog shot on Kevin Holland, but I am going to go Jack Della Maddalena to win via decision. I think his money line is fair at -155. And you actually see Kevin Holland, at Media Day today talking about how he doesn't care if he's ever champion. He's not fighting for belts. He fights for money. He wants to be a showman, man. So it's tough for me to back someone that, just wants to make exciting fights and not really do whatever it takes to win a fight. We saw what he did against Wonderboy, a kickboxer where he never shot a takedown, didn't grapple at all, had him on the mat a couple times and let Wonderboy up, and then Wonderboy went and beat him up. Like, it was kind of weird to watch, man. This guy's IQ is definitely questionable. Like I said, man, more of an entertainer. And yeah, Jack Della Maddalena did not look good in his last fight on short notice against Bazel Hafez, who's coming in on days' notice to fight Jack. But I will say, I'll give Jack a little bit of an excuse here. That was his second weight cut in 10 days. And Bazel Hafez fights nothing like Jack Della or Kevin Holland, I should say. Hafez is a buff, stocky, short wrestler with power. Kevin Holland is a tall, long karate kickboxer with jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, man, a different style of fight here. I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena. I just think that he's a good prospect. And I think he gets the win, man. I think he gets a win via decision. Fight starts round 3, over 2.5. All risky plays because I think at any moment, Kevin Holland can clip Jack Della Maddalena, and Jack can also clip Kevin. Jack, his nose is broken. He wears damage bad. If you watch this guy fight, his nose goes in 2 different directions. But yeah, man. So if you're going to play an over-under, that is a little worrisome because both guys can crack. Both guys do have good finishing ability. But I think they're durable enough to not get finished by either. I don't foresee Kevin Holland really trying to get this guy down and control him and submit him. I think he's going to entertain the fans, give them a 15-minute striking fight where he's bouncing around, just getting tagged up jab by jab, piece by piece by Jack Della Maddalena, who eventually gets ahead on points. So give me Jack Della Maddalena to win via decision. And the rest of the breakdowns, guys, are going to be relatively quick because most of these fights are open and shut cases, dude. Speaking of which, we have a bantam fight. The return of Raul Rosas Jr. Taking on Terrence Mitchell. Raul Rosas Jr., the 18-year-old phenom, comes in after losing his first ever pro MMA fight as a -850 favorite. You heard that right, guys. -850 in a pro MMA fight against Terrence Mitchell. Terrence Mitchell comes in again, the underdog, +650. And guys, I mean, it took me a while into my fandom, being a UFC fan, to realize, oh my, this is years ago, just to realize, like, oh man, they set people up. They definitely want people to win, certain people to win matchups, and for certain reasons. So here we are, Noche UFC. They're stacking the card with Mexican fighters. And we have a 18-year-old Mexican prospect who's coming off his first loss on a pay-per-view. It was on a pay-per-view. They're trying to hype him up. They gave him a good fight against C-Rod. C-Rod, the guy that beat him, is a good MMA fighter, man. That guy is well-rounded. And he schooled Rosas Jr., man. Rosas Jr., he kind of reminds me of Hamza Chimaev. Not in the sense like he's this crazy good, Russian grappler or anything. I mean, he's a good grappler. But his pace, man, this guy just goes forward, goes to get you down, goes to submit you, goes forward, gas, all gas, no breaks. Yeah, man, most of the time he's able to get guys out. So, in that fight, he met resistance for the first time in his career, and he faded, man. That third round, it was terrible. He was shooting for takedowns, getting his back taken after the other dude sprawled. C-Rod had his number all day and night in that fight. But in this fight, the UFC knows what they're doing. They're setting him up to win this fight in the first round via submission, which I think is exactly what's going to happen, man. Terrence Mitchell, 14-3 as a pro MMA fighter, 100% finish rate. All of his fights have been, or wins, I should say, have been via finish. And if he doesn't finish Rosas Jr., which I do not think he has the abilities to do, I think he does get finished, man. He came in on short notice against another prospect, against Cameron Simon. Got a couple takedowns, or got a takedown early, got the fight down, but then faded after 2 minutes, man. This dude will not have any sort of gas. I think Rosas Jr. is a pretty big and physical guy for the division. I think he will fill out a little better the older he gets. But I think that he's just I think the area where Terrence Mitchell is best at, Rosas is like 10 times better at that. So I think Rosas puts on a display here, gets the guy down quick, takes his back quick. And not for nothing, man, in that C-Rod fight, he had the body triangle, rear naked choke attempt on C-Rod. C-Rod had good hand fighting, got the guy down, got him off him. And yeah, man, so we could be sitting here, talking about how Rosas Jr. is still undefeated at 8-0, but he didn't get that submission in that first round. Terrence Mitchell, I can't believe I'm talking this long about this fight. He will lose this fight in that first round. Give me Raul Rosas Jr. via submission, round 1. And up next, we have a lightweight fight between Daniel Zellhuber and Christos Giagos. Zellhuber comes in as a favorite at -250. Christian Giagos comes in at +205. Now, the story for this fight is At minus 250, does Zellhuber cover his price tag? Does he, look like a minus 250 favorite over someone who has more experience in the UFC and probably is the overall better fighter in general than Zellhuber? And I say yes. I think Zellhuber will win this fight, and I actually think that he will finish Christos Giagos. Now, Giagos, to me, either he's able to get Zellhuber down and control him and really utilize that grappling, or he's going to get pieced apart here on the feet. Zellhuber, a good prospect, 24 years old. He's going to be 7 years younger than Giagos in this fight. He's 24, Giagos 33, so that's significant. But he's also very big, man. He's a 6'1" lightweight, and you don't really see that often. I am 6'2". There's no shot I'll ever weigh 155 again in my life. Like, dude, that's crazy. That's a big-time size bully there. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage over Christos Giagos here. And he's a dangerous striker, man. You wouldn't know that if you saw his fight against Trey Ogden. And I think that's why this line is so close, man. Just 2 fights ago, not the most recent one, but the one before that, Zellhuber comes in as a huge favorite against someone that, again, like we were talking about earlier, setup fights. I thought the UFC was trying to set up Zellhuber, and they give him someone that I don't view as that high of a fighter or high level of a fighter in Trey Ogden. And he goes out there and does nothing. He loses a decision, loses all 3 rounds, and he just never threw anything. The output just was not there. It was insane. He got froze. I don't know what it was. I really can't describe how that performance was other than horrible. And then after that comes back and looks great against Lando Venata, who I think is a better fighter than Trey Ogden. It's weird. He beat the better fighter, lost to the worst one. So I don't know. He's still young in his career. Christos Giagos, on the other hand, proven fighter, been in the UFC for a long time, has way more experience, and especially way more experience at this level. It's just that he's going to be shorter here, and on the feet, I really don't think that he's going to have anything for Zellhuber. Zellhuber should have a speed advantage here, and will have that length and power advantage here. I think he does catch, at one point, Giagos in this fight, and I think he wins via knockout. I'm going to go round 3 knockout for Zellhuber. And like I said, Christos might look good in that first round, but as the fight goes, I expect Zellhuber to put it on and to look good doing it for the Mexican fans. Give me round 3 Zellhuber knockout. And up next, we have a featherweight fight. This should be a banger of a fight, super exciting fight between Fernando Padilla and Kyle the Monster Nelson. Padilla comes in the favorite, minus 250, while Kyle Nelson comes in the veteran underdog, plus 205. Now, another age gap in this fight, Padilla will be 6 years younger than Kyle Nelson, but it's not like Kyle Nelson's really old or anything. He's 32 years old. As far as the skill set, though, man, I think that Kyle Nelson, he should have lost the fight that he got a draw in, and that does not sit well with me. Yeah, he looked good in his last fight against Blake Builder, where, he did upset a lot of people. He came in and cashed as an underdog in his last fight, and he finds himself as an underdog here again. But it's just that before that Blake Builder fight, you could argue he was on a 3-fight losing streak, man. And the thing is with him is that I don't really like the output, man. He doesn't throw enough for me to really back him in fights. He's kind of more of a counterpuncher, which I do not like. And he has some pretty good clinch work and grappling, some pretty good wrestling. And if he can get you down, he's going to be able to milk away minutes on the clock with that grappling. Padilla is also someone that's kind of inactive, man. You haven't seen him in a while. It's only his second fight in the last 4 years. He came in and beat Julian Erosa and knocked out Julian Erosa. It looked good doing it. That lasted very short, very quick fight, so you can't really take away a lot from that performance. But he looked good, man. So it's not like I'm sitting here doubting the guy. It's not like he's out there putting bad tape out there for us to watch. But yeah, man, Kyle Nelson, more experience at this level. Can utilize the grappling here over Padilla, in my opinion. But on the feet, I just don't think he's going to have enough output, man. I think that Padilla can get ahead on the points, and if not, catch Kyle Nelson at some point. I am going to go with the favorite on here on Padilla, but I don't really mind a shot on Kyle Nelson here. Like I said, he's actually looked good in that Blake Builder fight, which that kind of surprised me. He had very good leg kicks, so maybe he uses those here in this fight. But another time where the crowd's going to be rooting for the Mexican big time in this fight, and I will side with the Mexican. Give me Padilla to win. I'm actually going first round knockout. I'm going to go first round knockout. Kyle Nelson is going to bring the pressure, going to bring the pace, going to go forward for once, and is going to get caught doing it. Give me Padilla, round 1 knockout. Up next is my personal fight of the night. I'm just playing. We have a women's strawweight fight between Lupita Godinez and Elise Reed. And wow, man, I have a lot to say about this fight. Lupita Godinez comes in as a massive women's MMA favorite at minus 450. Elise Reed, the underdog, coming in at plus 340. Just nonsense. Just crazy nonsense. Lupita Godinez minus 450, man. For Lupita Godinez to be minus 450 over a woman in the UFC, she either has to, one, come in with a big giant tattoo on her head that says, "I will wrestle, I will grapple," or she has to fight Elise Reed. And sure enough, she's fighting Elise Reed in this fight. So Elise Reed has no grappling match. She has no takedown defense and no defense once it does get into that area. Once she is off her back, she is a white belt here. And Lupita Godinez will be able to pass her guard and move into a good position here and pound this girl out or submit her 100%, man. The thing is, does she do it? Does she take the avenue of least resistance here and take down Elise Reed? I do worry that with the crowd going crazy and just the overall way she's shown low fight IQ lately, Lupita Godinez will invite a striking fight with Elise Reed. And if she does that, she's going to have a very close fight. And she even might lose a decision to Elise Reed if she strikes for 15 minutes. But I do think that Elise Reed is a good enough striker with a good enough power to hit Lupita into wrestling, man. If at one point she catches Lupita, makes her bleed, Lupita has to know that she has to wrestle. And if she doesn't, man, that's on me, because I did parlay that minus 450 on her with someone else we'll talk about here soon. But I just can't get over the fact that Elise Reed got finished, got taken down by a Muay Thai fighter in Loma Lukbumi, who is 5 foot tall. Loma Lukbumi is short, small, and not that strong for the division. And she got taken down and finished on the mat by her. Loma Lukbumi is a striker, guys. Lupita Godinez is a wrestler. This chick can maul girls, man. If the same girl that shows up that fought Ariana Carnelossi and got 8 takedowns shows up to fight Elise Reed, this girl will finish her in the first round. It's one of those fights where I think 1 takedown per round will seal the fight. And yeah, man, give me Lupita Godinez. Not close. I think she bulldozes Elise Reed and finish her in this fight. But I will say, guys, if you're out there and you want to fade my bets, the last 2 times I felt this strong about someone was Aljamain Sterling and Israel Adesanya. So we might have the 3rd straight, huge wrong call by me here. And I hope not, because I have significant money on Lupita. I'll tell you here soon how much. But I'm just saying, guys, if you want to fade my picks, I was that confident about those 2 fights where I got wrong. So Lupita Godinez, round 1, ground and pound finish or submission. Next, we have a middleweight fight between Roman Kopylov and Josh Fremd. This money line has been going crazy, guys. Roman Kopylov at one point earlier in this week was minus 275. And today, as I filmed this on Thursday night, he is sitting around minus 380. He got all the way up to around minus 400. A little bit of buyback came in on Fremd at those odds. And now it's settling around minus 370, minus 375, minus 380 for Roman Kopylov. And Josh Fremd comes in around plus 250, around plus 265. So this is just a bad stylistic matchup, in my opinion, for Fremd. Fremd, we'll talk about him first. So he came in, missed weight in his most recent fight, which was that not long ago, against Jamie Pickett, a fighter who I don't think should be in the UFC. And he had a very, very close 3-round decision with Jamie Pickett. And the one thing that really surprised me in his most recent performance was, 1, him missing weight. He's never missed weight before, and he has a wrestling background, so I know he can cut weight good. So he missed weight by 4 pounds, big red flag, and then he comes out and looked terrible against someone that I don't think is UFC level. And in that fight, he was losing the grappling exchanges. I thought that was crazy, man. Jamie Pickett, someone that doesn't have very good jiu-jitsu or wrestling in general, was able to almost take his back, man. At one point, if Jamie Pickett would have sunk in his left leg, he would have been able to get a body triangle in on Fremd and flatten him out. Who knows what would have happened from there, man. We could be sitting here talking about how Jamie Pickett beat Josh Fremd or even submitted Josh Fremd. So that's not a good look at all. And another not good look, I should say, another bad look was when he fought Tresean Gore, man. I had money on him against Tresean Gore. He ends up getting submitted via helicopter guillotine choke. And just one, lesson I'll give someone out there is, if you're ever betting on someone, them almost dying in the octagon is just not a good look, man. Tresean Gore almost snapped this dude's head as he was spitting him in a helicopter headlock. I've never seen something like that. I was legit worried. I was like, dude, 1, I almost lost my bet, or I lost my bet. 2, like, is that guy dead? And that's Josh Fremd. So ever since then, I've kind of not wanted to bet on him and stay away, I guess. Bounced back after that Tresean Gore loss. Got a good win over Cedricus Dumas, who is a little bit unproven in my opinion. And yeah, man, so that brings us to Roman and Kopylov, man. I was at his most recent fight in Salt Lake City where he head kicked Claudio Ribeiro. I was pretty high up where I was sitting, and I'll be honest, man, when he landed that head kick, it sounded like someone was sitting right next to me with a baseball bat and hitting a piece of wood. It was so loud. The whole arena, did the thing where they all gasped at the same time. We're like, oh my God. That was just insane, man. So this kid, definitely one of those fighters where he comes into the UFC, and he's not at his full potential. He's getting better in the UFC in front of our eyes, fight to fight. So he's been a little bit low output, early in his career, and he can be shown to lose via grappling. He can get out grappled, taken down, and held down. He's done that before in the UFC, but lately he's been improving. That Puna Soriano fight to me was the turning point. Puna Soriano, someone that has very strong hips, very strong takedown ability, and just an overall good grappler, wasn't able to get that grappling going against Roman Kopylov. And I heard that Roman Kopylov, even though he is Russian, the way you fight, or the way you watch him fight, is he's a striker. But I heard that he moved to Dagestan to work on his wrestling. So here we have one of those rare Russian strikers with no wrestling working on his wrestling. So if you can just, put that together, combine those aspects, he could be a dangerous fighter in this division, man. If he gets another finish, there'll be 3 straight finishes all within the same calendar year. So this guy might be, on the way to the moon here. So give me Roman Kopylov. I did parlay him at minus 375 with Lupita Godinez. I put 3.75 units on that. I have a 3.75 unit parlay 2-leg on a women's MMA fighter that's sitting at minus 425 that has shown low fight IQ before and that might get outstruck by a better striker. And another leg at minus 375 on a guy who I am kind of writing off, Josh Fremd here. If I were to make a case for Josh Fremd, if I'm sitting there thinking about how Josh Fremd's going to win this fight, I would go with a 3rd round finish or decision. Kopylov has shown to be, have a little bit of a suspect cardio tank here. So I do worry that if he is tired and not the fresher fighter in that 3rd round, and he hasn't put out Fremd by then, that those takedowns might be able to come easily for Fremd in that 3rd round, and that Kopylov could lose a 3rd round here. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Kopylov has a speed advantage here big time. I think he catches Fremd, and I think he finishes him. So give me Kopylov round 2 knockout. And up next, we have another wide favorite, in my opinion. We have Edgar Chairez taking on Daniel Lacerda in the flyweight division. And this is going to be a banger of a fight, guys. This one should probably win fight of the night for as long as it lasts. So yeah, man, I said that this is a wide line because... So we have a lot of wide favorites on this card, and it's just one of those things where I know all the favorites aren't going to win. That is very rare for a card to just go all favorites, go undefeated. So you got to wonder, who is going to be the one that gets upset here. And at minus 250 in a very volatile flyweight fight, I don't mind a Daniel Lacerda bet here. So this is going to be a bigger. This is going to be such an exciting fight. Both guys throw down. Both guys are going to be willing to scrap here. Edgar, in my opinion, Chairez, the favorite, should be the person that throws lower output in this fight. I expect Della Lacerda to be the one going forward, the one to be initiating the exchanges on the feet. This guy's a maniac, guys. This guy is 0-4 in the UFC, has never won a UFC fight. This will be his 5th fight in the UFC, and he's been finished in all 4 fights. And so you're probably thinking, how is this guy in the UFC? It's because he's super, super exciting, guys. Watch this dude fight, and you won't be disappointed. This guy goes for it. This guy's throwing head kicks. This guy's throwing haymakers. This guy's throwing spinning side kicks. This guy is legit. It's just that he doesn't have enough gas tank, or for some reason just doesn't use it, or doesn't really care, and just... gasses out after a minute or 5 minutes. This guy has probably not even that, probably 2.5 minutes of gas, and then he will gas out, look sluggish, look slow, and get caught by somebody. But Edgar Chairez, man, he's never won a UFC fight. To see him come in at minus 250, I'm kind of surprised because, yes, he did look good against Clayton Carpenter on the Dana White Contender Series, a fight where he lost, and then he looked good. He looked better than the big underdog money line he was against someone, Tatsuro Tara, who's a very good prospect. So if we have a situation where Edgar Chairez looked good in a loss against someone that he was supposed to get dominated in, and now he comes in as a favorite over someone that has UFC experience. Yeah, I know he's 0-4 with 4 finished losses in the UFC, but still, Lacerda comes out of a good gym, shoot-a-box gym with Charles Oliveira and Diego Lima and all them, and those guys just are bulldogs, man. They go forward, do not care about striking defense. Who cares? I am going forward. I want to hit you. And Chairez is a Mexican savage, man. This guy has never been knocked out. He has been submitted 3 times. So it's just one of those things where who's going to get to who first. And I actually think that Daniel Lacerda will be the one going forward, getting ahead on points for as long as it lasts. But I think that Edgar Chairez has to withstand that first round, show that Mexican durability, and then come on strong in the 2nd and 3rd round. So is this going to be the fight where we finally see Daniel Lacerda, pace himself and not gas out after 1 round? I doubt it. I think that the Mexican crowd's going to be going crazy for Chairez. Vatos Locos for life. This dude is the guy that threw up the set after he made weight. It was so funny. But yeah, man, give me the Mexican again. All favorite picks so far for me, except for the main event. But this one, man, if you're parlaying, man, I would not be parlaying Chairez at all. No way. Because Lacerda is a dog, man. I know, like I said, he's 0-4, but he has had his moments. He had CJ Vergara literally turning around and running in a circle, running away from Lacerda because he was afraid of him. This guy can crack, man. This guy is a savage, like I said. Yeah, give me Chairez to win via 2nd round. I'm going to go submission. I think he submits Daniel Lacerda in that 2nd round. Club and sub. I think he clips him, goes down, submits him from there. Yeah, man. Give me Chairez, submission round 2. And up next, we have a women's flyweight fight between Tracy Cortez and Jasmine Jasudavicius. Tracy Cortez comes in as a minus 130 favorite. Jasmine Jasudavicius comes in at plus 110. So money's been coming in on Jasmine. That plus 110 is likely gone by the time you're watching this video. She should be sitting around plus 100 or even minus 105. This should be a dead even pick'em by the time the fight starts. So one of the more closer line fights. There's only about 3 of these type fights on this card. You know, almost pick'em type fights. And so it's tough, man. This is actually going to be a really, really good fight. I'm super interested to see this fight because of the grappling realm. Both these fighters tend to have grappling advantages over their opponents, and that's what they use to win their fights. Jasmine will be the taller, longer fighter in this fight. 2 inches of height, 3 inches of reach going in the favor of the Canadian Jasmine Jasudavicius. But she's also 34 years old. I was shocked when I saw that. I expected her to be way younger. She's a good fighter, man. She's the type of fighter where she will come through as an underdog, and everyone loves her, man. Everyone loves cashing in on an underdog. She has heart. She has will. She will fight for your money, man. This girl, she goes for it. She has very good grappling, like I said, good takedowns and good offensive wrestling. It's just that if she doesn't have the, offensive grappling advantage over her opponents, she can get outstruck, man. She has a negative striking differential in her career. She's getting landed on more than she is landing on her opponents. But then we have Tracy Cortez on the other side at minus 115, minus money here. It's tough because I understand, she's I think 10 professional wins in a row, something crazy. But she's very inactive, man. This is going to be her 3rd fight in 3 years. And I wonder if she will have the grappling advantage in this fight. She's going to be shorter, so it worries me in a striking, 50-minute striking fight if it's nullified in the grappling area, taking the smaller fighter. So I do like Tracy's jab more than Jasmine's. I like her 1-2 more than Jasmine's. And I actually think that she will have the grappling advantage in this fight. I think that Tracy gets this fight down and controls Jasmine. But it wouldn't shock me if she does, man. It wouldn't shock me if Tracy has, some struggles here. She also, pulled out on, I think, either fight day or on the day they weigh in. I believe it was fight day. Her last fight. So she pulled out on the day of the fights, like something about like a medical issue. So I don't know what that was. It never got, I guess, put out there what it was that made her pull out. So that's kind of worrisome for sure. But I am going with Tracy Cortez to win this fight via decision. If you like a side, just bet them to win via decision. I really doubt that anyone gets finished in this fight. They fought in the UFC something crazy like 12 times, these girls. And not one single finish. Like either they lose or they win via decision. This is going to go 15 minutes. That's going to be a crazy line, like minus 500 for a fight to go to decision. So just bet either side, whoever you like to win via decision. For me, it's Tracy Cortez. That's who I'm going with. We have a few fights left, guys. 2 more fights. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Up next, we have a slaughter of a fight. Why is this happening in the UFC? We have Charlie Campbell making his UFC debut, taking on Alex Reyes, returning after 6 years off, man. Charlie Campbell comes in, the debutante, coming in as a massive, massive, massive favorite at minus 400. Guy has 0 UFC wins, sitting at minus 400. He's fighting Alex Reyes, another man with 0 UFC wins, who comes in at plus 300. And yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, guys. Charlie Campbell will knock out Alex Reyes in that first round. It's just the way it goes, man. That's the way she goes. Alex Reyes hasn't fought in 6 years. He is 36 years old. I like to joke that whenever someone's coming off a long layoff, like if they fought pre-COVID and then come back, I like to make the joke that a whole global pandemic started and then ended by the time this person has fought. But you could almost say, you could double that, dude. You could have 2 global pandemics start and end, and this dude still hasn't fought or even won a fight. So he is a good grappler, good jiu-jitsu from Alex Reyes. I know he's with Drysdale here in Vegas, which is actually kind of close by my house. And that dude is a savage. Drysdale, ADCC champion. His coach is legit. Good submissions by Reyes. But, man, I think that Charlie Campbell is going to spark this dude. Charlie Campbell sparks everybody, man. This guy, level of competition isn't the best. But on the Contender Series, he would have won that Contender Series fight if he didn't get knocked out by Chris Duncan on a, I guess, Hail Mary type shot. But I've seen Charlie Campbell almost get clipped, knocked out, trying to go for the finish on the regional scene. It's not the first time where he's been, finishing a guy. The other guy's on, a career streak, about to get knocked out, and then just throw a punch and it lands on Campbell. I've seen that happen other than that Dana White Contender Series. So it's not the first time that's ever happened. But I will say, similar to Della Maddalena, Charlie Campbell has sick MMA uppercuts, man. For some reason, this dude's uppercuts get through. And people's heads get snapped back bad. I think that Reyes gets put in the Muay Thai plum. I think he gets uppercutted to next week, and I think that Charlie Campbell gets this win via first round knockout. And the very first fight of the night, we have a curtain jerker in the women's strawweight division between Josefine Knutsson and Marnic. Man, Josefine Knutsson will win this fight, and it's just about whether or not she will finish or win via decision. So for me, I actually think that she will win a decision in this fight. I will not be shocked at all if she finishes Marnic man here. There's going to be a huge speed discrepancy in this fight. When you're going to watch this fight, you're going to be like, oh my God, is one girl on, promethazine? Is she sipping that lean? Because Josefine Knutsson is way faster than Marnic man. When I saw this tape, I was shocked at the level of type fighter that Marnic man is. She is not good. She is slow. She doesn't do anything good. When she fights, she goes forward. Her hands are facing each other. Her palms are facing each other. Absolutely crazy stuff. She went on Dana White Contender Series and got beat pillar to post by Bruna Brazil. Bruna Brazil kicked her in the leg, kicked her in the knee, kicked her in the body, and then she topped it off by kicking her in the face and got one of the sickest knockouts in Dana White Contender Series history. And it's funny watching that head kick finish and then watching Josephine's Dana White Contender Series fight where she landed a sick, savage, like super quick head kick in the very first round against her opponent. She didn't finish that fight, which is kind of the theme of her career. She's not really a finisher, which is why I'm going with a decision. And I do like Marnic's man's ability to get the hands locked and get a takedown and just survive in this fight and most of her fights. But it's so funny, man. Marnic man lost on Contender Series and then went to the LFA regional scene and got a win legit over the closest opponent to a dead body you could get. And even that fight was close, man. I've seen Marnic man go for a takedown and throw herself into a bottom position, man. She goes for a head and arm throw, ends up on bottom, and I'm sitting there thinking, what is going on? Why am I watching this? Why is she in the UFC? Josefine Knutsson trains with Kanzach Maev and them in Sweden. She will look good in this fight. Like I said, on the feet, it's not even close. I expect Knutsson to go for a lot of Muay Thai plums in this fight as well and do damage from there. But I think Marnic man has to survive, and try to get to the 15 minutes here because Knutsson's going to be all over here, man. The speed's going to be absolutely unreal. And like I said, watch out for those head kicks. So with that, guys, that'll do it. And really quickly, I'll let you guys know my bets so far for Noche UFC. There are, like I said, man, a lot of wide money lines, man. You got to be careful this week. You don't want to, be gambling or parlaying a huge favorite for them to lose, which might happen to me, man. So, like I said, we have a 3.75 unit parlay. Roman Kopylov, Lupita Godinez it comes out to minus 177. We put 3.75 units on that. Then we have two different two-leg parlays at this moment, and they're anchored by the same guy. We have Raul Rosas Jr. parlayed with Daniel Zellhuber. We got Rosas Jr. at minus 650, Zellhuber at minus 250. That comes out to minus 163. We put 1.65 units on this, essentially, to win one. And like I said, man, I think Rosas Jr. finishes his opponent in the first round. I think that Zellhuber finishes his opponent in that third round. Yeah, man, I really like those two plays here. A two Mexican parlay there. And another one here, we have Raul Rosas Jr. parlayed with Fernando Padilla to beat Kyle Nelson, man. I have Padilla again at minus 250. Rosas Jr. at minus 650 comes out to minus 165. And we put 1.65 units on that as well. So two parlays, both minus 163, put 1.65 units on each. Then the big one, minus 177, two-legger, put 3.75 units on that. And that'll do it, guys. We have a lot of sports coming up, man. We have Thursday Night Football happening right now. We have Tough Enough regional fights Friday night. Then we have UFC Noche UFC Saturday night, college football Saturday, and NFL on Sunday. It's a great time to be a sports fan. Great time to be me at Any Action Sportscast because I be gambling on all these sports, man. I even dabbled in some tennis recently, so yeah, man, thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. I felt like it was a good video. I did a lot of tape study for this card. Hopefully it comes through. A lot of wide favorites. So, gotta be careful out there for your parlay. So let me know what you think about our bets, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.